I wanted to do a quick first look and discussion on GTFO, which is an early access game which launched on December 9th, 2019. It had been teased at the Video Game Awards previously. I've seen trailers for it pop up here and there on YouTube, but it's finally out. I want to emphasize it is an early access. What I'm about to talk to you guys about is absolutely subject to change. I'm sure that a lot of mechanics are not yet implemented in the game, a few of which I know I can specifically talk about, and a few are still being worked out. So if you're one of those people who isn't a fan of early access, definitely you're going to want to hold off on this because there's still a lot of things that are in work. But based on everything I have seen, especially in everything that I have played so far, this game is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So what is GTFO? Well, it is a survival horror FPS, and it is self-branded as a hardcore co-op game. The plot of the game still to be determined, really fleshed out in terms of a story or anything, but I can give you guys the overall story gist and what you're going to be doing moment to moment in gameplay. And you're going to be dropped down into this pit. It's going to be think of aliens, a lot of future military type, like a cargo ship or a cargo hold type thing, with lots of doors and locks. You have to hack into computers to open different doors, and it's going to be crawling with alien enemies. Now, some aliens will attack you on sight, some of which only are triggered by sound. There are about, I'd say, a dozen different enemy types in the game so far. I'm sure more are going to be added. Your mission is to retrieve some sort of data, usually via a computer terminal or something, and bring it back. And it's going to require a heavy amount of cooperation. So right now, the difficulty does not scale. It is designed for 4 people. And if you do not have 4 people, you're going to have a rough time. You may be able to get through with 3, definitely not 2, definitely not 1. So if you are a solo player, GTFO, probably not for you. But if I've caught your interest this far, good, because this game is absolutely worth checking out. It does a lot of things right. You're going to play as a nameless, faceless hero. They will be adding characters with dialogue later on. They do emphasize that heavy in the gameplay trailers they've shown so far. But as of right now, you're just a nameless, faceless dude going off and trying to complete this task. You're going to get a loadout of different types of guns. You're going to get a primary gun. You're going to get a secondary gun. You're going to get some sort of tactical gadget, and you're going to get a melee weapon. Now, primary and secondary, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. Think along the lines of a light SMG or a pistol for your secondary, and for your primary, think some sort of heavy rifle or a shotgun. You're also going to get a tactical item, which I'll talk about in a second, and then you're going to get a melee weapon, like a sledgehammer or a club or something like that. The tactical weapon, I think, is where you're really going to start to differentiate gameplay to gameplay. And right now, there's an alien tracker. We actually hold this wand in front of you, and it scans around you to show you where enemies are, which is absolutely pivotal when you're opening a door to know what's on the other side. There's also different types of turrets. So there's turrets that excel at long range damage, or medium, or short, up close, more like a shotgun turret. And that's where I mentioned you're going to want to have a couple people playing with you, because you're going to want to diversify in what you do. Gameplay, moment to moment, is a lot of crawling and being very stealthy and very slow, trying not to make too much noise, trying not to be in the sight of enemies. And this game does a really good job of making you feel immersed. You're going to have a flashlight, and the game is going to be pitch black. And they've done a lot of really cool things with how they implement the darkness. So you can't cheat and put the gamma up on your monitor or tweak your brightness settings or anything like that. When I mean dark, I mean it is pitch black. You are not going to see. So you're going to be walking around hearing these horrifying music. That's where the horror part of it comes in. Weird dripping and gurgling and different like horror type sound effects. as you navigate through basically with your pistol and like a flashlight, as you slowly work through this maze, working your way into rooms that have computer terminals where you have to type on your keyboard different commands to do queries on where pieces of gear are, to download like maps or information to kind of help you understand tactically what you're doing. You're also going to be breaking locks, and right now that is just basically standing in a zone and waiting for a timer to finish. The thing is, there are a lot of locks that will initiate a sound, and all the enemies on your side of the door will rush you. So it's very imperative to take your time and methodically clean out room after room, slowly working your way, checking all the nooks and crannies, making sure that there's no enemies, because they will rush you rapidly and they are extremely difficult. 1 or 2 hits and you are dead. So this isn't one of those games where you're going to play something like Doom or something like Quake where you're going to get a bunch of armor and be able to tank shots. Nope. You are very weak and very frail. You're going to have to take very, very precise shots because your ammo is extremely limited. You're going to have to set up your turrets in the right place because your turret ammo is extremely limited. And you're going to have to set up firing lines with your teammates. So 2 people would crouch, 2 people are standing up over the top of them, and you're channeling fire into very specific corridors or very specific points of the map to try to slow this horde of enemies, which are crawling all over each other, freakishly trying to eliminate you. And you also have that melee weapon, which comes in handy during the exploration phase of each map, where you sneak up and you melee enemies. Coordination is important, though, because when you hit an enemy with your hammer, usually they'll shriek or they'll make a loud noise, and any of the other enemies nearby will hear you. So everybody will sneak up to their respective positions. We do a call out. We all engage the enemy. We all hit as simultaneously as we can to try to eliminate and make sure that nobody gets away or makes any kind of noise. If you have any sort of issue like that, you're going to have a bad time. So it's a very interesting game. I think it borrows heavily on Assassin's Creed's attempt at multiplayer during Unity. It definitely borrows on any major FPS you've played that has horror elements to it. Doom comes to mind. Not the new Doom, Doom 3. That definitely comes to mind. And I think you're going to have to really rely on communication significantly in order to be successful. Now, they haven't really implemented much of a roadmap, as I mentioned before. It's still very early access. They're still working on things, but I think it's a great time to dive into the game if you're interested. They have an official Discord server. They're very active on social media, and I feel like this is a game that the community is really going to help shape. There's been some phenomenal ideas that I've already seen come out. I suspect it's going to be something similar to what Coffee Stain Studios has been working on with Satisfactory. And I think it's a game that I definitely endorse and I support. And I'm excited to see what the next direction of this game is. A few closing notes, and then I'll close out this video, but I want you guys to expect I will be doing some more recordings of actual gameplay in the future. There's a lot of videos online that kind of give you an indication of what to do. My friends and I have a very distinct way of playing. Not to say we're right or wrong, but I'll try to record some of our dialogue, and so you could see more of the tactical thing. Think along the lines of Rainbow Six in terms of how methodically and slowly we clear out rooms and gather resources and stuff like that. This game does support ultra-wide, which definitely gets an endorsement from me. So if you are a member of the ultra-wide master race, fear not. You're going to be able to play this game phenomenally. And it's very well optimized. I'm playing on a 2080 Ti. But I am playing at a very, very high resolution. As I mentioned, the ultra-wide 21:9, which is 3440 by 1440. So I'm pushing a significant amount of pixels compared to what you're probably gaming on with a, just a standard, like a widescreen type monitor. That said, I'm pushing about 150, 160 frames a second with everything dialed up to the max, and it looks beautiful. There is a lot of darkness, so that probably helps the rendering process because there's a lot of shadows and light effects and everything, which I'm sure will be expanded on in the future as they start to get into more like the Gucci graphics with smoke effects and that sort of thing. But from what I've seen, it's very well optimized. It has yet to crash on me at all. The lobby system, joining in on your friends, customizing your character, toggling all your options is a very solid foundation to work on. A lot of times these early access games, I think, really miss the ones and zeros. I think they really fail at the very basic things. And I have to say that 10 Chambers Collective has done a phenomenal job of building a solid foundation just in terms of customization and in terms of how things look and how they run. I feel like it's a very robust setting system and a very robust, overall base package where I think they have a good foundation to work off of. And that was something I noted in my Satisfactory early access review, that I thought the game was optimized very well. This game definitely is, and I'm happy to see that. Now, there's still a lot of questions out there, as I mentioned, with the roadmap and everything going forward. But from what I've seen and what I've played, which is one of about 6 or 7 missions right now, which are totally replayable in terms of enemy placement is randomized, your actual mission is randomized. You're going to get a lot of life out of this game. They're running a promotion right now through, I believe, the end of this year, that they'll knock 10% off of the asking price. It's about $30 right now. I endorse it. I think it's a phenomenal game, and I'm definitely hooked on it. My friends and I have been talking about it, and hopefully we'll get on tonight or in the next few nights after the holidays and try to chip our way through. We've only beaten 1 level so far, and it took us about 4.5 hours to really nail our run, and the actual run itself took about 35 minutes. So definitely an investment, but if you like that hardcore, team-based, very punishing difficulty gameplay that you want to share with your friends, this isn't a Dark Souls experience where you're going to be solo. You definitely need a good group with you. Look no further than GTFO. I hope you guys found this video informative. Do me a favor, leave a comment below. Let me know if you're playing it. Let me know if it's on your radar. And most importantly, let me know what you think about future improvements for the game, because we've been very active on the forums, and I would love to take your ideas and throw them on there. Or do them yourselves and link your handle below, and let's join and try to beat some of these hardcore levels together. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.